Good morning, virtual book clubbers. How's everybody doing today? We continue to read from Simple Abundance, and we are on the January 27th entry, which says, The Daily Dialogue. I'll write myself into well-being. Nancy Mayer. Because I write all day long professionally and work very hard at my craft, most of my adult life I have passionately resisted keeping a personal journal. It just seemed like too much effort, and I really didn't have the time. But when I embarked on the Simple Abundance path, I became aware of all the conversations that I continuously carried on with myself. There was really a quieting of my mind. Instead, I'd hear, "The cat's acting funny. Is she sick? If the Cleveland airport gets snowed in on Thursday, how will I get home? Am I ever going to get paid again? We need new slip covers in the living room. The old ones are starting to look shabby," and so forth. I discovered that my mind will grab a hold of a single thought like a pit bull terrier with a bone and not let it go until I'm exhausted or have lost interest. One day, desperate to quiet the voice in my head, I took a spiral notebook and began having a conversation with myself on paper. Everything I was worried about just spilled out in rapid stream of consciousness. What I was doing was not so much recording the events in my life as much as eliminating the mental minutia that was depleting my creative energy and driving me crazy. I was then able to let go and get on with my day. Groan and forget it, the writer Jasmine West advised. She's right. This ritual became very centering and therapeutic. I've been doing my daily dialogue for several years now, and while I may sometimes skip a few days, I always look forward to checking in with my consciousness because this inner tool really works. It clears my head and calms my restless spirit. It will do the same for you. Interestingly, after a while, the pages took a life of their own. I call this ritual the daily dialogue because you are really conversing with someone much wiser and saner as you write, your authentic self. Try writing a daily dialogue as an experiment for 21 days. That's the length of time psychologists tell us we need to perform a new behavior before it becomes habitual. Neither the time or day nor the amount you write seems to matter as much as repetition. Stressed souls need the reassuring rhythm of self-nurturing rituals. Sometimes when I have a particularly thorny issue to resolve, I write 2 pages in the morning, come back in the evening, and see if there isn't an answer that's forthcoming. And very frequently, there is. And until there is, at least there is a relief and a release. When you start writing the daily dialogue, you will probably be shocked at how much complaining you do at the beginning. And that's okay. Actually, that's a really healthy reaction. You can't moan about a situation for months and not decide to do something about it. You'll get tired of the sound of your own nagging and be inspired to get moving. Another suggestion, don't use a fancy, pretty journal for your daily dialogue. It's too intimidating because then you want it to be perfect and profound, and that's really not the point here. Just use a spiral notebook or loose leaf paper. Just get it down on paper. Whatever's hovering on the horizon of your brain, disguised as a dull headache. Alison Lurie confessed that with pencil and paper, I could revise the world. Writing a daily dialogue is a sure way of revising yours as you search for your authenticity. I like this on a lot of levels. For one reason is, before I even read this book, this is something that I would do. When you become so consumed that you barely cannot even breathe, when you have this problem or issue that you're struggling with, and maybe you don't have anybody to talk to about it, or maybe you don't feel anybody would understand, or maybe you've talked about it so much with other people that you're so sick and tired of talking about it with other people that you hear yourself being whiny. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but that's how you feel. You feel like you're just whining all the time. And there's no resolution. Write it out. It 100% works. The other thing about that is don't be obsessed with spelling, punctuation, sentence flow, paragraphing, none of that. Just write. Write until you feel like you've gotten it all out. The other thing I find interesting about that is when you go back, one, I always feel like when I'm writing, like she said, the issue you see the resolution. You see, if nothing else, you feel the relief of release. But more often than not, you find the resolution in that writing. Another thing that I think is really interesting is one of our best tools for transformation is knowing what our story is. So when we write out what we believe our story is, we can then realize and see in black and white what false narratives that we have been telling ourselves. You know, one of the writing exercises I recommend to people who are really focused on financial abundance. Write out your money story. What is your money story? What is it that you believe to be your money story? Because if your mind is so consumed with financial abundance, but you don't get relative about what you believe to be true, you're never going to make forward motion. You're never going to get out of your own way and your own story that you believe to be true about why you can't have financial abundance. When you write out that story, really read it. Take a highlighter. Highlight words that you keep using in that story and ask yourself, is this really true? Because when you really look at your life and you understand how much you already have, you open the door to a wealth of abundance, and you now have the tools to change that story. So I hope you will try this. 21 days is not a long time. You don't have to write for a long time. It doesn't matter what time of day that you write, but I do encourage you to write. I don't encourage you to do a like a voice journal or a video journal. And the only reason I say that is there is a mind-body, hand-mind-body connection that you're making when you write that out. I'm not saying that these two other methods couldn't work by recording your voice or taking a video. I just feel like the synapses that come from your brain to your hand to the paper is such a powerful tool that really allows for a good mind-body connection release that the other ones I don't feel necessarily have. But try it. I really encourage you to try it, and I'd really love to hear, how is this working for you? How is this daily dialogue working for you? Is it freeing up space in your brain? Because we know as women, we are such multitaskers, for one. And for two is there are millions of conversations that go on in our brain that we do not even tell even our closest, dearest friends sometimes. All of the crazy conversations that happen in our brain. Good portion of the time is at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? When you're trying to sleep. By getting these out, I would love to hear, are you sleeping better because you freed up that space? How is this daily dialogue helping you not only identify your story, but giving you some relief in your day? All right, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.